Always post-lunch session is difficult, but as our immediate past president had said in the morning that though there are only 2%, one audience, one presenter, it doesn't make any difference. With these words, now I request Sarvina ma'am to give introduction of today's learned faculty. Thank you.
Very good afternoon to all present members, learned dignitaries on the dais. Today's faculty, CA Rakesh Agarwal, well known, many of us have heard him for a lot, many times, is a partner at PwC, and he was ex-senior vice president at Reliance Industries Limited, IFRS Governance and Risk and Assurance. Rakesh sir, based out of Mumbai with over 2 decades of consulting and industry experience, specializing in the topic that we have today is ESG, sustainability reporting, IFRS standards and assurance. He's an alumni of Harvard and MIT University. Recently is in his year-long career break, he has completed 9 papers in ESG from MIT, which says there is no age bar on learning anything that is new. Commendable, sir. The topics I would want to just add on the 9 papers that he has taken is Introduction to Sustainability, 4 credits, Geographic Information System, Sustainability Investing, Calculating Scope 3 Emissions, Life Cycle Assessment from MIT, Circular Economy, Sustainable Cities and Infrastructures, Leadership Sustainability Professional, Sustainability Strategies and Opportunities for Industries. This includes the scope for 3 emission, life cycle analysis, sustainability analysis, sustainability data analytics, elementary research designed for urban and environmental planning, data science-based policy advocacy, and competitive positioning. His directed his learning involves paper of over 200 research papers. Commendable, sir. And 20 prominent frameworks, including IFRS, Standard 1, Standard 2, IPCC reports, WIR data, SDG, GRI, IIRC, GHG protocol, BRSR, SEBI circular, ISO standard, AASB standards, science-based targets, double materiality, sustainable startups, forestry, agriculture, common organization statistics, biodiversity, social audit, planetary boundaries, and the list goes on. With this, I would request CA Bishan Sir to please felicitate our faculty for today afternoon. CA Rakesh Agarwal, sir. I would request sir to please take us to the presentation.
Very good afternoon. When we talk about emerging opportunities, let me put certain basics in place first. When we start a new career as a starter, as an initial entrant into the profession, there is a concept called 10,000 hour rule for a beginner. Additional 10,000 hours of experience, and then perhaps he is proficient in any of the profession, be it medical, be it law, be it actuary, be it chartered accountancy. And that's the journey we have seen in our early ages. The world is changing faster than ever before. What we have learned in initial stages was also very down-level execution. Then we also went into teamwork. And then after linking vision to strategy, strategy to operating model to last man standing, or dealing with variety of clients together at scale. Now, any person who has reached this level, if we invest instead of 10,000 hours, maybe 2,500 or 3,000 hours on an emerging subject, which can be the data sciences or ESG, or you take any other subject of your choice, then perhaps there could be a lateral shift at scale on the new subject, which is practically in the nature of blue ocean, that nobody has entered it at senior level, and perhaps we can make a much bigger difference to society at large, difference to people that we serve, difference to our clients, and in the process we become more valuable than ever before. It is from this perspective I'll be having conversation with each one of you now on the topic ESG. Before we get into ESG, let's start with what is relevant today in terms of recent experience, all of you. And all these databases can be shared. You all can operate it, provided you invest 2,500 hours. Alternatively, we can respect those who have invested 2,500 hours. We will invest 30, 40 hours so that we at least acquaint ourselves to whom to speak for the right matter without vested interest, who will really make a difference. This is the actual list of warning issued by IMD in relation to Gujarat on August 28th. If you see the quality of warnings that were issued, it was quite qualitative. It said that at Saputara region, landslide could happen. It did not say anywhere landslide can happen. Then there were also general things. General things makes you to think as to what kind of entire public infrastructure or personal infrastructure or India Inc. as a whole needs to respond in terms of alerts and execution. And specific things is for cordoning off. These are just an example, a very small example of GIS systems, which has matured over a period of time, and here we see the results, area-wise mapped. Storms, weather forecast do not understand state boundaries, but it is within state it can be up to district level. You can pinpoint a lot of things in times to come. So, one of the databases that I'll be sharing towards end of the session, which you all can refer, is Remote Sensing Technologies, ArcGIS. So, if you want to download any impact in the range of accuracy of 25 kilometers to 25 kilometers, you can download free of cost. But if you want with an accuracy level of 10 meter by 10 meter, which is the one size of the pixel, smallest pixel, then it's a huge millions of dollars that we have to incur. But that's relevant. For important areas, that's relevant. So whatever is available free, even that if we are able to digest, then we can think what are the other things that collectively we can afford, mobilize and deploy at scale. This is technically known as planetary boundaries. I'll start with a highly positive statement that we have been collectively successful. There are 9 planetary boundaries that if any one of it we cross beyond the outer line, there is a risk of our survival as a whole. One planetary boundary that is these days often talked about is GAG emission, that is CO2, carbon. But carbon, if you see, that's today. Can you name a planetary boundary which was in red zone 30 years back and we collectively succeeded in overcoming that? It is the ozone layer problem. World over, the scientists agree, despite their operational disagreements, that ozone layer needs to be combated at global scale, the depletion part of it. So they banned certain substances to be ever produced on the planet, or if it is produced, it is more like a controlled commodity rather than a consumption commodity. alternatives are found and applied at scale involving global institutions, including United Nations. 30 years now, you don't see any problem in relation to ozone layer. If you see, there is no red in the ozone layer related things, this part. It was red earlier, and as collective people on the planet, we have succeeded. Today the talk is more with respect to CO2, GAG, carbon. What is that talk? The talk is, before year 1800, there was 380 ppm of CO2 in the air, that is particles per million in air. Today as we speak, it's 421 and it's expected to be 480 if it remains under control. So how it works, on the planet Earth, we receive a weighted average 1370 watts per square meter of power per hour. This is reflected back fully. By default, up to 1.6 degree is not reflected back. So they call it RCP scenario, 1.6. But as and when we increase GAG emissions, which are 7 kinds of gases, lowest means CO2, but at higher value, and the higher multiple is methane. Methane is 13,000 times more destructive in terms of heat intensity compared to CO2. So it stops, it retains the heat in the air. So as we increase the CO2 concentration, that is GAG concentration in the air, it is possible that if it remains unabated, then by year 2100, we'll be having 4 degree, 5 degree higher temperature, average temperature, and that leads to lots of consequences. Because the heat is trapped in the air, because of primarily GAG, and this is curtailing this GAG emission has become a global issue at scale. The question, most of the chartered accountants, when they go to the boardroom or when they go to sell international products for their client, there is a cross-border adjustment mechanism with respect to carbon taxes, embedded carbon, that is included. So people end up talking only CO2, but not the remaining thing where we have crossed planetary boundaries. Reason? Ozone was shaken up 30 years back. It got applied in couple of decades. CO2 got shaken up a decade back, and now we see the tremors around in terms of disruption. Until 10 years back, other than CO2, we did not cross any other things. But now, based on the recent reports, we have recently crossed biogeological cycle and forever chemicals. We also crossed NPK, that is nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, used in agriculture. Once there is enough sensitization, 5-6 years down the line, you will see it's getting controlled in terms of assertive actions. And then when it comes under control and people go for transformation, chartered accountant either record, report, or audit. So that's a journey waiting to happen in addition to CO2 that we are talking today. So the scope in ESG is not that carbon or BRSR report or integrated report or CSRD report or IISB reports, so on and so forth, or say carbon taxes. The way we see the momentum in next 3-4 years is the remaining planetary boundary, and this has been agreed by more than 1,000 scientists across the world. Generally, you find very difficult, even one scientist getting agree to other scientists' views, but there are few things like biodiversity papers, planetary boundary papers, where more than 1,000 scientists have already agreed, and there is a common conviction for assertive action, and we will see that rolling out in times to come. That's the broad context. Every year, World Economic Forum produces reports with respect to top risk. So on the right hand side, from a medium term perspective, that is 10-year perspective, the top 4 risks that are perceived today is all relating to environment, nothing relating to war, despite war happening, nothing relating to cyber security because it's considered as a medium term risk for a year, and society will find a common solution around it. But society is struggling to find a long term solution of the top 4 things are extreme weather events, which we all have started witnessing and will continue to witness more and more for next couple of decades. Then critical change to Earth system, the North Pole is shifting. The air pattern is shifting. The temperature across region is shifting. The implication is what? If the rain areas are shifting, the implication is what? It is complete reshaping of the rehabilitation. So existing things will get disrupted, new things will get opened, and in the process there will be a lot of pain in the system. Imagine if you move out of 360 degree on the planet, just 2 degree, then practically you would have crossed 1000 kilometer. So just by shifting 2 degree, for all practical purposes, the entire thing from rain to food habits, to the quality of the land, to the bird migration, then to pollination, then the food that grows, the underwater that is needed to supply that, everything changes, and all this causes, it destabilizes the existing way of living, existing way of working, and existing way of taking the things forward in terms of total actions to be taken. This is technical, so I'll skip, although as the slides are already been shared. When we look at climate, the buzzword today, I'm using the word buzzword today, is ESG. It's not planetary boundaries. Within ESG, there are a lot of things. And this is the deep dive level 2 of those lot of things. So when we talk about only one aspect, that is say climate, then people talk about how much carbon is embedded into a product. How much carbon has changed the biodiversity of that product. What is, if I have to remove the carbon from my product to net zero, what is the extra cost per carbon that I'll pay to live a healthy life, so on and so forth. So this gamut of services are available to all professionals irrespective of the source that they are coming of. They may be scientists, they may be engineers. ESG is professional-less, boundary-less. Anybody can get in, anybody can get out. There are ways to take accreditations, there are ways to go ahead, everybody has a role to play, and everybody has who are already playing a role, have a role to expand themselves to make more impact. This becomes a gamut. Depending upon the skill that we have, we also have CAs who are engineers, we also have CAs who are data scientists, we have CAs who are from pure psychological background. So field is open for all. Depending upon CA does not mean necessarily that he has learned accountancy as a graduation or primary undergraduate degree. It can be from any sources. And that's the widening of the practice. On the left hand side is the business pitches that you all can give. Business pitches is only a way of articulating conversation. In the name of business pitches, the kind of effort that are taken is lower than what is expected, but still some effort, or we start moving the needle for low hanging fruits. ESG is a costly affair in short term. In medium term, it can be costly, or it can be net rewarding, and in long term it has to be rewarding. So what we generally say, when my carbon footprint is lesser than competitor or more than competitor, that's the simple situation let's start with. Then when we are talking to 5 different sets of stakeholder, what can be taken to the advantage? The first part, investor. Funds like CalPERS, which is the biggest fund in the world, owned by provident fund managers, they invest only ESG friendly portfolio. So somebody who is not investing is willing to invest. It gives higher PE multiple, it means lower cost of capital. Second, funds from World Bank and other places, you get a reasonable concession to begin with. If you are on a higher side, then there is an element of carbon tax or cross-border adjustment mechanism. So if you are on a higher side, your product, you pay tax. If you are on the lower side, you get favorable benefits even from government, additionally from investors. When you speak to consumers, the moment I say I have made this jacket out of a recycled plastic, it's valuable. The moment I say I have killed a lion and made out of its skin, people will hate it, even if it is costly. So it has a direct impact on your sales. And there are ways to compute that direct impact, whether you are positive or negative. Then communities. Once you start making negative impact, there is a resistance from the local society. Example, in Japan, when toxic waste was released in river, the entire local society ganged up and closed the plant. These are only matter of time, and with more media, more WhatsApp, whenever something is detected and pictured and shown, like lakes of Bangalore, it was toxic fog, but you see the impact that it happens. It kills tourism. Employees, the young generation especially, they are mindful about the brand that they work with. Then regulators. In short term, we can get away with paying extra taxes and penalties. In medium term, there is only one option: for government to comply with NDCs, nationally determined contribution. Highly intensive, detrimental industries sooner or later will be closed. Can you give me an example? The industry, more than 700 factories were closed on account of pollution. It was all small scale industries around Taj Mahal. Tomorrow it will be all industries. The moment there are 1,000 deaths on account of poor quality of air, you see everybody starting ganging up together for the right cause. And perhaps there could be a knee-jerk reaction if we do not act proactively. It's better to act proactively. The question is, as a chartered accountant, what is your extra delta in the field? These are the people that you end up generally dealing with, and everybody has a view on ESG, which is an aspect of ESG. If you speak to strategists, they'll say reinventing strategy to execution is sustainability. If you speak to HR person, human resources, they'll say having the right sets of values and culture is sustainability. If you speak to people, say thought leaders, they will say innovating in a shrinking life cycle business is a must for our sustainability. If you speak to learning and development people, they say developing next line of leaders is sustainability. If you speak to an environmentalist, they will say anything to do with emissions is sustainability. If you speak to safety engineer, he'll say safety is sustainability, and he can link up hundreds of accidents across the world. So sustainability by default is very wide subject. And why I'm saying that? The current standards on CSRD is having around 1,200 data points, and perhaps each of the data points falls. You will find data points in all the clusters that you're dealing with. The current standards of GRI is having some 140 data points, and it covers almost all the segments that I've listed. In other words, sustainability does not belong to a single functional profession. It is cross-cutting, and anybody can rise up. So that's an open space for chartered accountant as well. So why we are well placed to capture it? First, we have access to audit committee and board of directors. A marketing man may not. An R&D man may not. We have quarterly access. Second, we look at both financial parameters and to some extent also non-financial parameters as part of our audit procedures. The only thing is it will be extension of other procedures. Third, integrated annual report is nothing but sustainable report. Now only the ambit of that report will become 10 times more than ever before. Then management discussion analysis, we have written management discussion and analysis, which a person from technical background may not write, person from production background may not write, person from corporate secretarial may not write. It's the chartered accountant and CFO who end up writing management discussion and analysis, including preparing investors' presentation. Risk management, largely a field of chartered accountant. Climate risk will be one added risk to the overall framework of risk management. Then setting KPI, that is budget and monitoring. So in addition to financial KPI, non-financial KPI can be leveraged or integrated within the existing model of governance that we have. Same is the case with assurance processes. When we talk about the value capture in relation to the just 5 cases that we spoke, that is customers and others, investors, chartered accountant can compute that value capture. They can do the holistic benchmarking across the company. And above all, we have an eye to raise the excellence year after year, be it from the budget cost cutting or increased revenue. That is ingrained in our DNA. So by default, as compared to researchers and scientists, we are better placed to take this field at operational level ahead for our clients. And here is what the 3 perspectives. First, as a global citizen, irrespective of commercial, anybody who wants to understand IPCC report of 2000 pages, if he or she takes pains for going through the first 100 pages, and I believe that he or she has fairly invested her time with reading those basics, and then when he wants to interrelate the entire 2000 page report for his understanding as a global citizen, I'll sit with you. Totally non-commercial, it can be retired person, NGOs, anybody. It's a huge change, it's a huge catalyst movement waiting to be happened on a data-driven, world-class ethical framework. Everybody is welcome. They may be priest, they may be scientist, they may be film actor, they may be anybody. World is for everybody. That's as a global citizen. And I welcome for explaining the IPCC report. It's very tough to understand. And that's the pole star in the field of sustainability. As an audit firm, because we are apart from our own audit, financial audit, there will be non-financial various things, then we can collaborate with many other professions to make things happen. Be it safety engineers, chemical engineers, so on and so forth. The list is endless. I repeat, the list is endless. Coming to within the corporate, first is taking the ownership of that report, that is sustainability report, in addition to management discussion and analysis. Second is setting up at higher level the governance system in place, which is an agile nature, matrix-led organization, cascading the targets to KPI and its monitoring to the last man standing. And when it comes to capturing the value, be it with investors, suppliers, customers, CSR, and value-added statement, it is we who can produce it and also give trust, that is assurance. Over and above, when we prepare projected cash flow, we can embed a carbon price that if we do not do or do, then what is the extra price that we'll pay based on the basis of database, scientific research, and the taxes, incentives and disincentives declared today in other parts of the world as well. We can corroborate and work out what will be the price which will be a break-even point of adopting and not adopting. So that's an opportunity for chartered accountants for sustainability. Now, having said that, let's look at what is sustainability from a professional perspective. First, it starts with Sustainability Development Goals of United Nations. There are 17 goals. You would have heard a lot of things like women empowerment, poverty alleviation, so on and so forth. The limited message for us to carry today is, for each of the goals, Niti Aayog publishes report for each goal state-wise what is the database performance and its monitoring. So you have a data point for each goal, which has 163 sub-goals. For these 163 sub-goals, state-wise data point has been collected, compared, and the best state is also indicated. So we have a multi-state where we can learn where we are not doing well and why not doing well, and what states where we are doing well and what is going well for each of the data point. Second, why chartered accountant? Do you know who is issuing global sustainability standards? Any guesses? IFRS board. And whatever IFRS board does, Indian Standards Board will do the same thing. So the standards on sustainability, one with respect to the general standard and 67 other sub-standards as part of SSB2, are published as draft by IFRS board. Sooner or later it will be in India. So who will get a primary kickstart? The field is open for everybody. I can apply ISO standards even if I am not an ISO professional. Others can apply ISB standards. But the field is initially available within the network of chartered accountants first. It covers and it has merged other things of the past like Value Reporting Foundation, Integrated Reporting Foundation, CDP protocol, and the other frameworks of GRI and TCFD are converged with ISSB standards, IFRS standards. So that's a very big leverage that we can think through. Globally, equal to or better than ISB standards, there are two legal things that are happening. One in Europe, which we call EU, and EU, the standard is named as CSRD. All companies in the world who has a turnover of more than $250 million in EU will be required to publish globally their CSRD report for the parent, even though parent is not here. Otherwise, they'll not work with you. That is what they have said. Now, this is a law. Law derives behavior of institutions, behavior of other institutions which are supposed to do their own work. So, EU, there is a law. Powerful law. And United States, it's SEC. So, United States, there is SEC. EU, there is a powerful law. And also, IFRS is taken up own standards on sustainability, which are the erstwhile standards practiced by various other agencies in the field of sustainability. You can imagine the cusp of turning point that we are standing today. And those who are ignorant about it, they will miss the boat. And mind you, this is not 2 days or 1 week or 100 hours of training. It's a complete reorientation that is needed to excel in the field, to be a global player. And this is a global knowledge, not a local knowledge. I repeat, this is cross-field global knowledge. Those who excel have the world at its play. The structure of standards I am sharing as information. We are familiar with reporting like what? Profits, net worth, and various financial statement line items. Climate standards require you to report on what is the impact on account of legal and regulatory risk on account of climate change. That is, extra taxes, extra incentives, extra product pricing, extra cross-border taxes, extra quotas, everything in relation to regulatory landscape of today, wherever you are dealing in any jurisdiction, today and tomorrow you have to bring out. So that's a reporting which has to be audited. Second, what is the market risk? What is the technology risk? Technology means today you have a plant valued say 1 lakh crore. Because it produces products which has higher carbon footprint, either the plant has to be changed or made obsolete and something new has to be brought in. So that's the technological risk. Third, reputational risk. Fourth, this put together is put into a carbon pricing mechanism to estimate based on the current emission, if I avoid or not avoid, what will be my price, internal price. And that internal price will use it for our future cash flows, for our own decision making. And that can be done very well by chartered accountants. It also gives various scenarios, that is 2-degree scenario, nationally determined contributions, science-based targets, delayed transition, so on and so forth. Those are a bit technical, but can be done with the help of tools. When we talk about the physical risk, one is extreme weather, number of days of extreme weathers in a year, that will keep on increasing, and the intensity will also increase. So in other words, warehouse gets closed, products get destroyed, supply chain get disturbed, there is a ban on account of forest fire. So what will be the implication on my raw material, customer, the supply chain, so on and so forth? That is something that we have to scale up on the risk matrix from across various parameters, and it has to be published. And this publish, what we earlier thought, we showed you a Gujarat map warning. So there are global tools which are talking about your hotspot. Should the weather change by 2 degrees, what is the impact on the number of days that you will face the severity, and what will be the water level, what will be the heat level. This is satellite imaging, scientifically extrapolated with the accuracy of 25 meter by 25 meter. That's available today. And that can be linked for data-driven decision making. This is a sample heat map. Now I'll ask you a question. And I will request everybody to say yes versus no. We'll end up happily, no worries. Are we proud as an Indian? Yes or no? Yes. Will we continue to be proud as an Indian? Yes. What will we do? The situation is, I have one company, Google, which says all Indian companies put together emit around 1 gigatons of carbon. All companies put together say India emits around 4 gigatons of carbon, 25% roughly industry. So 1 gigatons of annual carbon is emitted by Indian companies. What Indian companies are saying? I will be net zero, not next year, not 5 years down the line, not 10 years down the line, maybe by 2035, 2050. And there is one company in the world which says I am already net zero and I'll remove more than 1 gigaton of carbon from the planet every year on account of my AI capability. 5 years down the line, you are representing that Indian company and continue to today publish, I am good at this, I am doing that, I have done so much gigawatts of capacity, I have recycled so much of water. When it comes to the core issue, matter that matters, carbon, if you are representing that company as a CFO, auditor, or as an Indian traveling in any part of the world, what will you do to remain proud as an Indian? You will ask the company to course correct today. बहुत हो गया विजन स्टेटमेंट, फ्यूचर में कर देंगे, यही बोला है ना. It's a shameful statement. And we should not be part of that shame. nothing future, do it today. So there are good storylines happening, and there are ways to detect whether they are telling lies or they are telling truth. And it can be out of pure innocence. It is possible that the owner of the business has not sensed the gravity of the problem, because CSRD will compel them to publish the data worldwide by year 2028 for their global operations, not the operations that are in EU. Otherwise, don't work with EU. And once that data is there, and for last 5 years you are saying that I am good, I am good, I am good, I am proud, and all suddenly that comes out, it will just look like a scam. To remain proud Indian, be it government, be it NGOs, be it corporate, we have to proactively course correct much more than what is claimed to be good. At this stage, the reality is what? People are referring to only one planetary boundary. CSRD standards issued are in relation to certain aspects of GAG, certain aspects of environment, certain aspects of human rights and biodiversity, but not all the planetary boundaries. It's going to come in a year's time, and by 2028, when these are published, we will be caught with surprise. This is the live scenario. On the basis of desktop research, my research, what are the issues that I see coming up as an example, classified into high, medium, low, without naming the business operations, the elements that will get captured in a negative way. So when I plotted these things, most of the things were alarming. Most of the things were alarming. But that does not mean that there are no positive things. Anybody can take my mobile now. I was showing to one of the gentlemen outside, including ex-president of ICAI. You can see it, anybody can see it, it's opening. You will see this map of India, all green. This is what I'll explain. One of the papers is, let's build a logic. If you save 5 hours of time of an Indian woman, poor woman, will the quality of her entire family improve or decrease? 5 hours of a typical Indian woman is saved. Example, she doesn't have to go and fetch water. There is a tap. She doesn't have to go and fetch wood. Or kerosene. There is a cooking gas. There is a toilet. She doesn't have to wait and hold herself to go only in early morning or late evening away from the boundaries of village, because there is a toilet. So what happens? She doesn't have to lend money to an unknown person and lose it because she has not disclosed. There is a financial services, smartphone. So if you save 5 hours of her time daily, she is not sitting idle, she is anyway utilizing it for something else. So by default, GDP should increase. That's the hypothesis. And here is the research. From the data downloaded state-wise for last 20 years from the statistical organization of the government website, I loaded for all the states last 20 years data points. I also loaded what are the incremental intervention that would have seen woman time. So the ratio of intervention and the ratio of GDP of that state was mapped year-wise for more than 2 lakh data points. I run with my hand Python with R statistics and linked it to ArcGIS. This is ArcGIS software state-wise, and linked the statistical correlation of women empowerment with impact on ESG. E for environment, S for social upliftment, that is number of people uplifted from poverty line, and G, how many women empowerment groups were floated in that locality. Do you know the statistical correlation that I got? 98%. This paper I presented at Harvard's and people were surprised. So women empowerment at down the line is positive for both economy and ESG, database researched. The same way, if I have to crack anybody, a non-performer, doing greenwashing, I'll make sure that they are made naked in the global world. And what is that? You make any kind of emission, you flow anything. There are sensors across the world that monitors it with accuracy levels. There are sensors that can sense temperature to a unit degree, moisture levels, soil quality content, the river flow, the toxicity in that river flow, the toxicity on the agricultural soil. And that data, be it remote sensing, be it what is collected by public sources, or be it what is declared by a corporate or industry association as a whole. Yesterday, chartered accountants were just looking at financial and non-financial information, that is management disclosure analysis versus this. Tomorrow, we can link all the data available in public domain, added with remote sensing technologies, added with various sensors that are attached at various points. And that can be linked also to the production of a particular region or industry or industrial belt, and you can detect abnormalities for immediate investigations. It is this part will be very heavy in times to come for people who are doing or who are playing with the numbers, or I'll say greenwashing. There is no escape. This is a company that has thinking, it's already positive. However, they are thinking to remove a year, in one single year, whatever is produced as an emission for the entire nation. What they have also said, they will not be carbon positive by 20, they will remove the carbon that they have already emitted in earlier 20, 30 years as well before claiming carbon positive. That's the strength of ethics and integrity. Same is the case with Apple. Here are the databases that I wish to share. OpenLCA. From here you can calculate most of the carbon footprint associated with the product. There is IEA data, lots of rich data provided we have invested our time in ourselves. Then there is policy scenario planning, whether my company will be questioned by government or will be favoring the government. My composition versus what is happening in India versus what is happening in world. So that data-driven research of the impact of my product in terms of the linking it to the policy advocacy for the right cause can be done through en route, that is this one. MOSPI is something which is in relation to climate report. GIS software I have just shown you. NASA sea level is something that we spoke in terms of satellite images which can be tracked up to particular level of accuracy. It can also give the timing of the storm, the timing of the levels, and the areas that are specifically affected image-wise on the geographical road maps. And WRI data is on the water quality that we drink. Imagine this morning we woke up, first thing that we breathed was realized that we are breathing air. That AQI is published live for 8,000 cities by Senthil Satellite 5P sitting in Europe. Then we get up, have a glass of water, and that glass of water, the alerts are there when we receive water from lakes. In between there are various sensors, and depending upon the impurity levels, the course correction of the processes are set. AI is working today. For what? You wear your t-shirt, take a snap, and load it on the website good for you. It will tell you the t-shirt that you are wearing is dirty, cruel for the planet or good for the planet. It will tell you the embedded carbon as well as embedded water in one t-shirt. Then when you go for the jog and you see that the forest is reducing, you take a click of a photograph of a bird or something, load it on iBirdNet. There is an AI that is working, which gives you whether the biodiversity is increasing or decreasing. Typically, a statistical sample of 336 can give you an estimation of 1 crore with a 95% level of confidence. Those are different sciences, but it's available. For you, it is only a click, snap, put it on. The balance people have thought through, and from there they pick up a lot of things, whether increasing or decreasing. You come to office, so there is a pre-carbon, that is this. Load your data of travel, and it will tell you how much carbon you have emitted into the atmosphere depending upon the travel that arrangement that you have taken for yourself. We all are here in a building. So this building, there are global websites which can tell you how much we are friendly or unfriendly depending upon what we are feeded about this building. As an industry, we emit 1 billion tons, 1 gigatons, entire India put together, and there is one company in the world which is destined to remove 1 gigaton of carbon every day. As we speak, there is a lot of data which is there. What I have mentioned is on your smartphone. I have not talked about complex things as yet. It's all on the smartphone that we talk from morning to evening. It is these databases, when supplemented with the databases that are shown on your screen and an understanding of planetary boundaries, can enable ourselves to be a better professional with a better purpose, with a better impact on the society, including India Inc., including government institutions, including a lot of, I'll say, side initiatives, which is which is after being successful or after crossing 45, 50, generally people get inclined towards some kind of NGO. And by doing day-to-day job, it's also aligned to NGO-related activity, but highly rewarding in terms of money. So, chartered accountant, your differentiated advantage awaits you to capture the emerging field. From today, you can be differentiated compared to others. From today, you can deliver all these without much of a preparation. So on job plus extra 4-5 hours a day for a couple of years, we can capture a new field altogether, which is ESG as a seasoned professional. This was the limited message from my side. I would be happy to hear your questions, and perhaps whatever little knowledge I have, I'll share back with you. Over to you all for your questions. I have not only mentioned sites, I have also given the links to those sites. Here are those. These are meant for a better world. So most of them, the elementary versions are always free. And for paid website, then you need to have your typical Ahmedabadi Jugaad, 1 month ka trial run. What I have seen, say ArcGIS, student editions people can buy for 10,000, corporate will be 15 lakhs. And if you enroll for a PhD program, then almost many things are literally free. And there is also a concept of dark web, which neither I am provoking nor I am saying no. It is becoming more towards something to keep initially it was meant for only bad actors. Now it is also meant a proportion of society to keep a check on bad actors of the world. I could not hear your question. If somebody can pass on the mic, or you can come this side and speak aloud.
That?
See, the institute has published as a starting point sustainability maturity model, but that itself is on the basis of the past knowledge. Now this knowledge is increasing very fast. Credit scoring are available globally. DJSI, Sustainalytics are to name a few, and those are available. You just open it and you can see it out. However, irrespective of how people rate you, it is you who know whether your data is correct or incorrect. So people have planted good data, greenwashing, and these are going to be just open in next couple of years, 3 or 4 years. It's waiting to get exposed. So my initial submission is, don't rely on ratings. In terms of ratings, you can project a lot of good company, a lot of bad company as good companies, a lot of questionable conduct as acceptable conduct, but these are waiting to be disrupted, and disrupted badly. One question that intrigues me is, there is a nation in the world where 26 priests are made member of parliament. There is the same nation has more than altogether some 800 member of parliament which are by birth or priest and other things. And they say that they are democratic, and in the ratings they are higher than us. And we are where we do not have a monarch, they have a monarch. So despite monarch, despite birthright for becoming a member of parliament, they are more democratic and we are autocratic. So ratings I don't rely. So if I am a rich nation, world will write papers in my favor. And that's what rating agencies will do.
Sir, apart from BRSR audits that are currently applicable to listed entities, top 1,000 ones,
Yeah.
what all other practical opportunities are there for CAs, particularly like
I'll
carbon accounting and...
I'll answer this. The opportunities are here. The complete suite of IFRS standards on sustainability, the complete suite of SEC law, the complete suite of CSRD. And those are 20, 30, 40, 50 times bigger than BRSR. Once there is a talent, let people find you. If you have done some 100 hours, 200 hours and you think people will knock at the door, grossly mistaken. At least invest your time, which is equal to 1/3 of what you did for your chartered accountancy. Then all these things are at your doorsteps.
And what all certifications can we do?
I'll say pursue master's program in ESG from Harvard to begin with. Sitting in India you can do at 1/3 the price of on-campus learning. Additionally, you can try, there is a course from Massachusetts Institute of Technology which is named as Chief Sustainability Leaders Program, that you can do it along with your job. And you do whatever is required for your country like BRSR, GRI, social impact. These are small certifications. Each certification are 40-50 hours. You will hear a lot of great things, lot of booster things. If somebody is making you feel that you have achieved something great, then you self-judge yourself. With an effort of 30-40 hours, nothing changes in your life. Do something meaningful. There is one more real area apart from data sciences or Gen AI, which can be captured by any professional sitting in any part of the world, and he can render services from any part of the world to any other part of the world. This is one such area which gives you a lot of flexibility in life with a strength of purpose and of course lots of money. Wishing you all a very happy thinking, a favorable thinking in this field as well. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Today's session by CA Rakesh Agarwal sir has given us such a lot of opportunity. It's not sitting only in Ahmedabad, the entire world is waiting. Thank you, sir, for giving us the new definition for ESG. It is like the example that you talked about, the women empowerment is a true inspiration. It gives a lot of motivation to us, giving us the detailed link that so much of data is available for us. Even Niti Aayog, we might would have logged in for few other things, but not knowing that it could give us the environmental view onto it. So I sincerely thank on behalf of the organizing committee, CPE committee, Ahmedabad branch for hosting sir's seminar. Thank you, sir.